but they realize that the bureaucrats that are always there, no matter who's elected, have control.
Wow, that's deep.
Okay, so our commissioners...
We're being oppressed.
Yes, our commissioners really don't have the power that everybody thinks, and they keep throwing everything against the commissioners, and they really can't get into controlling the bureaucrats. Because the they go and ask a question, who's giving them the answer? The people that are always there, no matter who gets elected. And they could be giving our commissioners bad information because they might be on a different page.
Just like our commissioners could be giving our town board members bad information. You know, we had a town board chairman that had resigned. He asked to be put back on the town board, and a commissioner told him, no, you can't. Now, we're a Dillon Rule state. Dillon Rule says that the last elected decision supersedes all other decisions. I believe that that chairman could get right back up on that chair and take his position right now. Now, I don't know if he wants to do that or not. He already resigned once because of the situation and a lot of downfall that was coming on him and pressures that were put on him back at a time when he was trying to make some right decisions for our community. But the point of the matter is, there is still a way. You know, and sometimes we don't want to give up. What we want to do is try to move forward with that way and try to educate each other with it and try to learn how we can do this where nobody else falls between the cracks. You know, criminalizing somebody. Let's talk about criminalizing somebody, because when I was in the jail, I spoke to my cellies. Hey, Tony, Celly, what up? Just letting you know, Tony, I'm out here looking out for you, man. I want to say real quick that these individuals were good guys with families, with kids. One of them lost a child because when he went in there, his wife was too stressed out, had a baby pass away, and so it was very tough, you know, and he didn't get a chance to be home with her during that instance.
I saw a lot of it.
Another gentleman lost everything he owned, his truck, his car, his vehicle. You know, why don't we have financial advisors at the jail? Why don't we have a parking lot where we go get these individuals' vehicles and store them and save them? I mean, we're talking about people's property here, and if they're having trouble paying fines, all of this is property that could generate revenue. But we're not interested in fixing people. We're interested in criminalizing them as far as our legal institutions that are here right now in Nye County are
exactly
concerned.
right, because somebody's going to make money on that vehicle that has been impounded.
Right.
Somebody's friend is going to make money. Listen, I was in the towing business in New York. The cops used to play those games. Okay, take that car and go bring it down there, and then they would be looking for envelopes, and I wouldn't pay. I've been fighting corruption since I'm 20. Okay, this is not something I just started because I came to Nye County. I'm just shocked that it's so large what's going on in Nye County. I never expected it. I expected it in New York. I didn't expect it here.
Right.
And it's rampant here.
Right, and it's getting worse.
If they don't do corrupt actions, they don't do any actions at all here.
Just because you're told by a supervisor to do something does not mean it's the right thing to do.
That's right, because they all took it over to the Constitution.
You still need to take that decision or that search warrant and read it yourself and say, am I doing the right thing right now? Wait, somebody's telling me to do something that I'm not supposed to do? Look at that Department of Agriculture officer that came out. He said, Paul, they told me to write you a ticket, but I'm not going to do it because you haven't done anything wrong. See, that's where Nye County dropped the ball, because they thought they were going to call in that complaint from the side, get me a ticket from the Department of Agriculture, and then they were going to follow in an hour later. Their little plan was all set up, right? But the problem was their actions were not wholesome. They were too concerned with damaging somebody and taking something and criminalizing rather than actually doing the job of what needed to be done, which is, let me look at your paperwork, Mr. Lemus. Let me verify, Mr. Lemus, that you have these licenses. Let me call and conclude that these licenses are active. The problem is we just went through an address change in Amargosa. So if you look on the search warrant, it says 4445 South Highway 373. They were calling, and I could hear them on the phone saying, does this guy have a license at 4445? I was showing them the paperwork. If they would take 1 second to read it,
Okay.
they would have saw that it said on it 8889 is the new address. I've given several hours to the planning committee as a donated time, a volunteer that I do, and I just help the community when I do that. And as I'm helping the community with this planning, I listen and I learn a little bit. I could have showed them the days that it was adopted. I could have showed them the minutes of the meeting where they changed the addresses. You know, I operate openly. I operate transparently. If they would have come into my establishment, okay, and let's get back to when I had mentioned previously, the Mexicans, us, Hispanics, the mighty Mayans and Aztecas have been here building since the beginning. Now they want to shove us out and say, we'll see you later. The problem here is this. You can't do that. We're spiritual beings. We might even be multidimensional. Do you think you can really kill us? Because you can assassinate my character, but as you see, we're right here together still, right?
Exactly right. We're going to take a break. Hold that thought. We'll be back in a minute. 775-751-2579.
Support for KPFF comes from BND.
You know we're in the age of Aquarius, right? We're in Aquarius. We're 20% into Aquarius, which means the enlightenment. Yeah, because we're 20% into it.
Licensed, insured, and happy to work.
Wow.
More information at 702-540.
The founding fathers over 200 years ago started, they were making this the United States of America at the beginning of Aquarius. And this is the enlightenment.
Co-hosts, guests, and callers alone, and are not necessarily those of the station or its affiliates.
Hello, this is LD,
Wow.
Lazy Dog Michael John. I'm going to host a show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. called Lazy Dog's Front Porch.
Remember,
Why
they
don't you
gotta
come on
tame
by,
us.
Roll up on the porch, pull up a chair, and join me.
That's
We're
the
gonna have a
attitude.
good time. We're going to chat about this, that, everything else. We might even become interesting. We'll just see where it goes. Sunday night, 7 p.m.
We got a
on
call.
KPFF.
Hello, listeners. Want to know what talk programs are broadcast by KPFF? The KPFF program guide is now on our Front Film Festival website. If you want to see what's coming up this week on
After we're done with the
KPFF, just go
caller, I
to
want you to talk about how they damaged all the stuff, all
As
your
programs
product,
are added or changed.
and ruined
So,
the evidence.
guys,
I want you to explain that after the caller.
www.frontfilmfestival.org for the best talk
Do you know
programs
Raider
in
Flagland?
No, I haven't met him yet.
This is
He's gonna be
97.7,
calling.
Rump's Community Radio Station.
And welcome back. We're here with Paul, and he's talking about what's going on with his farm and his gas station convenience store. And do we have a caller?
Sounds like it.
Go ahead, caller.
Raider Flagman here.
Hey, buddy, what's cooking?
I listened to the show, the Dwight Lilly show. I was a little confused what happened. So I confronted the district attorney's office, who claims they know nothing about what's going on over there. They said they were going to look into it. I talked to the pit bull, and I talked to the Ferguson up in Somerville.
Well, you know what would be nice? It would be extremely nice if they would give us back our property that was illegally seized, other than the fact that they can't give us the plants because those have now been destroyed by the deputies, or the detectives, let's call them.
See, but none of this fault. Last time you were on, it was something about you had some hemp plants, and they took the hemp plants, and you were on TV the other day, I guess you know that, right? Channel 25 did a whole segment on you being arrested, and they had all these charges against you, and then Dwight Lilly said on his last show, I believe, that it was going to be on that they interviewed you, and I watched 25, and you weren't on there. Did you do an interview with 25, and they asked you questions, say what happened or what?
Well, there'll be several interviews that are coming out over the next couple of weeks. Could you give me your information, or could you stay on the line and give the phone representatives here the info?
I got it.
And what I'll do is I'll CC and include you in everything that's going on from here on out.
I'm not on the internet if you're talking about updating me with email or something like that.
You
Well-
get text, right?
I'm a court observer, Paul. I've
Yes, sir.
been doing this 17 years.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Okay.
This idea of when they criminalize people for marijuana, I fought it for many years. I firmly believe If in 37 they didn't make it illegal, we'd have a cure for cancer right now. They researched the cannabis and the positive quality. But they haven't done it. Now I campaign for the decriminalization. I'm not talking about the legalization. All I'm talking about, I've seen too many people go to the slammer.
Yes.
Taking a hit off a joint or having some marijuana in their possession. They're going down for 1 to 4 years.
Right.
So I fought against this and I said decriminalize it. Now it's decriminalized and they're still prosecuting people for marijuana.
Well, some of these folks haven't.
What the sheriff's department out here is up to. I'm completely against their tactics, their techniques, and I know you've been abused. I don't know what jail you were locked up in, if it was the Tonopah jail, the Beatty jail, or the Plum jail. Which one was it?
The Pahrump.
Plum jail, huh?
Yeah, that's the one.
Did they treat you with respect, or did they treat you like something else?
There was a couple of them that treated me at the beginning a little bit rough. However, once I was in there, I had asked them to move me to a different cell because I had saw something brown on the walls, which appeared to be feces to me. So I asked them. They had mentioned it may be pudding. Yeah, my point is this: anywhere you are, if there's crap on the wall, you grab the mop, you stick it in the bucket, you reach it up there, and you wipe it off, and you keep it moving. You don't leave the guy in the cell and then move him to another cell with crap on that wall too. That was my problem with how I was being taken care of it on the inside. On the outside, it was all love, and now all of a sudden, I don't know if I'm like some hood celebrity or what, but now all of a sudden I'm getting radio show hosts calling and TV show hosts and people coming out here from the Capitol, and we'll see what happens next. I'm hoping that we can put our foot down because there has already been ordinances and NRS statutes put into place to no longer criminalize or harm, I believe even employees now can no longer be fired for using marijuana.
I believe you mentioned Channel 13 was going to do something on it. I haven't heard anything yet. Have you heard a follow-up on Channel 13, the Vegas station?
I have not yet. No, sir.
Well, I've been following, I got a general idea what happened with you. You're on the radio twice, and it took the second time for me really to kind of get it all together. Because I didn't know if they had detained you, if they were abusing you when you were detained. I guess you bailed out. Were you in front of a justice of the peace? No,
sir. My father shot out here in the middle of the night and got me out of there that evening. Yes, sir.
And what was the bid on your bail?
It was $4,500 is what they had put on me. But, had I been one of these other Hispanics that's in our community, I would have been left in there and then also put on an ICE hold. And, that's a whole nother show and another conversation. But, it could have gotten a lot worse quickly.
So you say the bail was $4,500 or the bid on the bail was $4,500?
No, I probably paid about $800 and something because they had me pay the filing fee twice.
All right, well, it usually takes them like 7 days to do any filing, and in your case, they can hold it off for a year or 2 years, depending on what they feel the charge should be. Right now, the district attorney, as far as Thursday went, they had nothing on you. They knew nothing about it. They said they were going to find out because I said, this fellow's on the radio, he's got a definite problem, he's being abused, and he said, okay, Flagman, we'll look into it. So I'll check on it this following week, and maybe they'll do nothing, Paul, because that's what they do. They're here to harass, to get as much money as they can out of every individual. I talk about it on these shows. Sheriff Morley is way out of whack. There's a lot of, I don't even think she's running that department. I think Dave Brookwitz is running the department. But anyway, it's just way out of line.
Well, I'm going to tell you something now Paul knows about. We're not going to give too much information, but tomorrow we have a meeting in Vegas with investigators from outside the state of Nevada.
Well, I'm glad for that, Anthony, because something's got to be done. I mean, this is like a runaway train over here, and nobody's trying to derail it or stop it. I mean, the Sheriff's Department is completely out of line. I've been bitching forever about the different things that's going on, and I'm glad that something's finally going to happen.
Well, yeah, actually it was supposed to be today, but people missed their plane, so it's going to happen tomorrow. And it's actually, they're coming to look at the corruption and abuse of power in Nye County.
Well, thank God for small favors, let me say. Let's get back with the show. It's a good show, and I'm understanding more about it. Except Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He's the faith, talented people Great flat man, over and out.
Thank you, buddy.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're not going to talk too much about what's going to happen tomorrow because this is a biggie.
Yes.
And but this is what I've been screaming about. And my friend in New York, Assistant Investigator General for 19 years, 40 years, law enforcement, he's been watching this closely. And this is a corrupt criminal enterprise. Nye County is. Not everybody that works for the county, but a good majority are. And even if they don't get involved in doing the corruption, if they allow it to happen,
They're just as guilty in my
they're
book.
just as guilty, right? I used to have a part on this program says, who sucks less? The one who does it or the one who allows it to happen?
Right.
So there's your problem. And hopefully tomorrow we make some headway. And I just want you to explain how much education you have into doing what you're doing to know about the substance that you grow. And also I wanted to bring up that hemp and marijuana was legal in this country, and you know why it became not legal? Because Randolph Hearst was afraid he was going to lose his fortune because he had all the trees for paper, and hemp grows a lot faster, and he was afraid, so he paid lobbyists to go to Congress to make hemp and marijuana illegal in this country. Go ahead. Before the call, go ahead.
We're going to be doing a housing development that's over 40 acres of 2-acre lot houses, ranch style, all designed around cultivation. We are going to have a common interest community there, and we're going to have 40 acres of hemp farmlands where the people that live there can also trade their commodity for, let's say, their mortgage payment, for the association fees, for several other things that may be coming up. The name of our housing development will be Herrera Homes. And I wanted to say that everybody should take a moment to look at The Emperor Wears No Clothes, which is a book written by Mr. Jack Herrera that kind of goes through what happened to the hemp industry, why it happened, and why we're here today still fighting for our rights. You know, once it's voted on, that's it. Some of these other guys just don't get it yet, that now they're the radicalists. Mm-hmm. They're no longer with us. If they're implementing those old laws, they've become the radicalists.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Yeah, a little bit.
Hi there.
It's Amy.
Hi. I was going to ask what district you're in. District 1?
I know it's in Beatty. I'm not sure of the district off the top, but I know it's in Beatty.
So, who's your commissioner? Lorinda Wickman?
Lorinda Wickman is supposed to be, and earlier on when this started out, I had asked Lorinda to come in to our town board meetings, and she has continued to send other representatives. I was concerned back then that we weren't getting proper representation and that we needed our actual person that's supposed to be there, not someone else who's coming to fill in for her.
Well, shouldn't it be your town board? You should go to your town board.
Well, the town board already knows what's been going on.
Okay. Go ahead, Amy.
The reason I'm asking is because she's not going to run anymore. This is her last term.
Yeah, she's termed out.
Have you considered running for commissioner?
Have I considered running for commissioner?
Yes, the seat's going to be open, and I don't know if anybody else in that district is going to run.
Yeah,
well, wouldn't that be something beautiful if we could turn a...
It might be a conflict of interest, though. You wouldn't be able to vote for anything for yourself.
Turn a mushroom into a flower? What are you saying here, ma'am? I like the way you think.
Some of the ordinance meetings.
Yes, I believe that I could do a good job as commissioner. I could also do a great job as a town board representative. However, there are some other individuals that I feel have been working hard, and they're a little bit in front of me in line right now. So I'll support them throughout these next few elections, and then we'll see where it goes after that. First thing is, I don't want these charges on my name. We have a dispensary application that we're still continuing on moving forward on, and I believe that this was a way that they tried to criminalize me to push me out of the box so that the money guy who they already have in their mind is going to get the next dispensary seat will get it. And that was their tactics here, was to try and criminalize me, to get rid of me and get me out of the way. But unfortunately, they didn't expect that I got a little fight in me left,
Well, I'm glad that you had it up because I have no there's another, Mexican guy that, has been harassed by here so on that. And, we took a county that, when I say around here, I know that there's a lot of prejudice here.
Well, the key for these individuals is not to bear arms, not to fight, not to raise up. It is to get your notebooks, get your pencils, sharpen them up, get on the website for the U.S. Department of Agriculture and start filing the proper complaints. Document every situation of harassment that happens, no matter how big or how small. You know, half of it is how you take it. If somebody's going to threaten you and you take it as a threat, then it becomes a bit of a threat. You know, so let's just keep notes and keep documents and keep stacking it, and eventually, now that the flower of fire has shifted, hopefully we'll all see justice.
I'll let some other people call in. I did listen to you on White Rose.
Thank you.
And, I like what Anthony is letting you talk about. So, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so could you tell me how they destroyed the evidence?
Yeah, well, originally we walked into the cooler. I have a cooler area set up that we put a PVC pipe through all the doors so that it can't be opened from the front. And this area is set up for observation from other certified plant hemp growers. They can come in with the producer certificate and order 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 clones or plants of whatever liking that they may want. At the store that day, we had a couple different strains. We had the Trump, we also had the Purple Haze, and we also had the Cherry Wine. And with all three of those strains, one of them was dead. So when I went in, I said, well, that's not going to do you guys any good. And I took the dead one and set it to the side right there. And then, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking of doing things the way that the state of Nevada had taught me, which is you take those live plants, you ship them to Nevada, up to the northern Nevada area, they greenhouse them, they raise them off, and then they test the lab samples for law enforcement. See, that's the way it's supposed to be done.
So that's the way you were trained. They told you when you got trained that to preserve the evidence you had to do certain things.
Right,
not
because
cut them down.
Well, because the flower doesn't start producing either the CBD or the THC until it starts getting into that phase of flower. See, they're coming in and grabbing the plants when they're still in a vegetation state, which means the only thing they had in them at that point is CBG.
Okay.
See, and this gets back to when I had mentioned before about the walls being built and how they use the Hispanics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So could this all be a ploy to get information out of me? I mean, could the court systems and the DAs and everybody say, well, this guy has learned all this information on cannabis, on the cannabis business, on the plants, on the chemical compositions of them. So now you're going to have me come on, you're going to put me through a hearing, you're going to drag me through a court, you're going to milk me out of all of my information on the stand, and you're not going to pay me for it?
No, they're not what they call. They're not smart enough for that.
They should come to me and hire me as a consultant to help them do it the right way.
No, they don't pay anybody. They just want to make you a criminal.
Right.
They don't want your help.
Right.
They want to make you a criminal.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is, but we can still keep praying. We can still keep hoping.
Mm-hmm.
And with these actions like what we're doing today by coming out and talking about it, I think that slowly we'll heal together and get us to where we need to be.
Did you ever hear the term tunnel vision?
Yeah.
These people live
Blinders.
their life in tunnel vision.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
that's what their job